good afternoon, or I should say good morning. I'm used to saying good afternoon because usually when I report. But good morning, everyone. You are tuning in to this morning's edition of MCSC Morning Report. We've had by the way, if you can't tell, this is going to be a normal thing. Like I said at the beginning of December, I was and I am going to be doing my show full time. Which means there will be a morning report, an afternoon report, and some other stuff I'm not going to talk about just yet. But a lot of exciting stuff to come. So, with that being said, thank you for watching this morning's edition of Mikasa Sukasa. And I urge you all to join our One Follow $1 campaign. You can do so by donating on the Patreon link or clicking on the Patreon link. If you're on Facebook, it would be at the top of the page. Of the YouTube page, or excuse me, of the Facebook page, and then on YouTube, it will be in the description. Excuse me. So, also make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell if you're on YouTube to make sure that you get the updates for all the up and coming videos. I will be dropping a lot of them, so you want to make sure that you turn on that notification bell so you can know when I do drop them. With that being said, in this sea of what seems to be insanity, there has finally surfaced some normalcy, and it's come yet again from none other than Seth McFarland. For those of you who do not know, Seth McFarland is the creator of Family Guy, and he is actually the voice of Brian Griffin, the dog, who pretends to be super liberal, pretentious, progressive. Him and Quagmire hate each other. Somehow he can talk. We're not exactly sure how that came about. He gets killed in one episode, but then he comes back. I digress. Family Guy, I'm a huge Family Guy fanatic, by the way. So shout out to Seth MacFarlane. But with all of this talk about Oprah Winfrey running for president, Seth MacFarlane hit us with a little jewel, saying that and this is on Twitter. Now, he said that Oprah's beyond a doubt a magnificent orator, which I don't actually agree with. I think she is really good. I don't think she's magnificent. When I think of magnificent orators, Oprah's not really one of the first ones to come to mind. I think she's a great talk show host, but being a great talk show host doesn't make you a great and impassioned speaker. I think that there are better speakers out there, but hey, it's Oprah, right? So, but then he continues to say, but the idea of a reality show star running against a talk show host is troublingly dystopian. Ding, 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 right? We don't want to create a world where dedicated public service careers become undesirable and impractical in the face of a raw celebrity. Seth MacFarlane tweets exactly the way 90% of us feel in 280 characters. His words resonate simply because, well, look at what we have right now with Trump. Trump he did eventually, after the RNC, or after the primary, started raising money and raising a large amount of money. However, before he got into the general election, if you all remember, he didn't have to raise money. He said, I spent all of my money, my own money, on my advertising. I spent all of my own money hiring my managers. I spent all of my own money doing this, all of my own money doing that. And for someone like myself, someone like you, the average person, the average young person, especially in this generation where millennials still live with their parents up until 30, because we don't have much of a choice, how can we hope to compete with that? How can we get into public service? How can we get into politics if every time we want to come and present and make legitimate change, obviously with when you don't have anything, it's kind of hard to have personal interests. You're not beholden to anybody. But how can we enter the public service domain if we don't have any opportunity to do so and any chance to win? because people like Oprah decide to run. And then, then Bill Gates will probably decide to run next. Then The Rock. And these people may be good people, they may be bad people, but at the end of the day, when you have that much money, and this is just a personal opinion, but it's really fact at the same time, when you have that much money, Oprah money, Trump money, you run into the very same issues that we see now with Trump. He's a billionaire. There's no way you're not going to have financial interests at the very minimum in this country, but in Trump's situation, and even in Oprah's situation, internationally. There's no way. You have television networks like in Trump's case, and in Oprah's case. You have television networks that you're beholden to. You have a target audience that you're beholden to, which Trump has taken advantage of. You have your own finances, your own business that you're beholden to. And I said this on my show yesterday. You think that Trump is the only one whose business profited during his presidency? You are sadly mistaken. First of all, while Hillary was in office, Chelsea Clinton was pretty much the one spearheading and running the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation collected infinitely more money when she was Secretary of State. They were on the way to collecting even more money when she became president and as she was running to become president. And that's why there's no coincidence, obviously, that at the moment that she lost her presidency, the Clinton Global Initiative was shut down because she couldn't do quid pro quo behavior anymore. That's why right now Trump is dealing with issues with Russia, for example, where they're saying, oh, he has business connections there and he has business connections in the Ukraine. So clearly that means he's colluding on a treasonous level, which that's not the case. He's just a real estate mogul who has real estate in places like Russia. Like, he's not going to not have real estate there because we have beef with them. Romania is extremely, it is still extremely corrupt. And we do direct investments there from the U.S. all of the time because it doesn't matter if you're corrupt, your country makes money. But you can be easily exploited and easily controlled by special interests who want to see their interests fulfilled and will throw you under the bus because they know you care about your brand more than anything. And when you get into that situation, you get dicey. Oprah is no different from that. At the end of the day, Oprah is no different. It doesn't matter. Like, she's a okay person. I do believe that she is an inspiration to minorities and women in the sense that I don't think she's perfect. Don't get me wrong. I don't think she's perfect. I think that she's kind of par for the course. She's a little bit better than par for the course. She's done a lot for Chicago. She's done a lot in Africa. She's almost did great not endorsing any presidential candidates up until she messed up and endorsed Hillary, because that was like her first endorsement. If you remember, she always stayed out of it. She just gave presidential candidates platforms on her show and then let the people be the judge. But that does not mean that you are president. That doesn't mean that you're presidential material. That does not mean that she understands foreign affairs. But most importantly, that does not mean that we overlook people who have made public service, not through necessarily monetary means, but their own physical effort, their own unique ability that they apply in the political and public service realm. That doesn't mean we overlook them because someone with money, someone with a platform, and to get on the Golden Globes, you make moral sacrifices. And I don't care what anyone says. Just ask the girls who accused Harvey Weinstein of rape. They weren't allowed to be at the Golden Globes. But yet Me Too was everywhere. That was the woman who created the term Me Too and started that entire movement was disallowed to come. Oprah is not an idiot. But she took advantage of that. She still took advantage of the movement, and she's friends with Harvey Weinstein. So to be at the Golden Globes, just in general, and be recognized in such a way, it usually means that you're not speaking up enough. I always said one of the things about Leonardo DiCaprio that has stopped him from winning as much as he should have won in the past was literally that he is a super activist. I mean, he talks about stuff that I sometimes don't even feel comfortable talking about on my channel. Like, and I talk about some pretty crazy stuff sometimes. So, hey, congrats to Seth McFarland. Big ups to you. If you have not watched Family Guy, because some people don't. I understand. But it's actually mostly political and deals mostly, I would say, with social issues. In the past, when you're young, you don't really think of it like that. Because we weren't really hyper vigilant when it came to politics back then. But it's extremely intellectual. It's very, very political. Yeah, there's some like slapstick comedy, but I think the undertones of a lot of the stuff are very political, very social, and it highlights a lot of key issues, and it really reflects how intelligent and nuanced Seth MacFarlane is. And by the way, his weird ability to predict things that happen. Like, he called Bruce Jenner a woman like 10 years ago on the show, and like it was the craziest. And he had him performing for like Navy people on a boat. It was the weirdest thing ever, but then he ended up coming true. Like, Family Guy actually does that a lot, and I actually truly believe that Seth MacFarlane drops little Easter eggs in his shows of what he knows from Hollywood, and I actually like place a lot of faith in his authority to deem like whether someone in Hollywood would be appropriate to run for office. I'm not saying that everyone should not run for office. If Angelina Jolie, for example, decided to run for office, I actually would not have that much of a problem with it. Why? Because I know for a fact it's not about ego. Why? She's always in the United Nations fighting for women's rights, not only in this country but around the world. She has actually stopped being in the public eye so often so that it does not hamper how we view her politically and socially. So with Angelina Jolie, I might consider it because she has shown an aptitude necessary to run for office and an understanding of the issues that would make me feel comfortable saying, okay, I think that she can learn. I think her heart is in the right place. And at this very moment, I think we can all agree, people, we need to be comfortable with your intentions. And at the very, very end of the day, I really don't know Oprah's intentions. Just like we didn't know. No, we do know Trump's intentions. Trump's an egomaniac. So we do know his intentions. But we don't know Oprah's intentions. But we know that it doesn't matter because she has the money and the clout and the media behind her. Clearly, because she's at the Golden Globes giving a speech and they're like, president, instantly. And if they were willing to do that without knowing anything about her policy stances, without her actually exemplifying anything that shows, hey, I understand how this country works at a public policy, and a political level, like, that's scary that they would do that they would just say president for shits and giggles. It's not a game. The presidential candidacy has become a joke. Or, like Seth MacFarlane said, and I think it's more appropriate, it's become dystopian. So, that's it for this segment. Stay tuned. I'll be back shortly. And I'm going to continue, and we'll continue with the rest of MCSC Morning Report. Like I said, subscribe, like, and always remember, ladies and gentlemen, find your balance.